And the gentlewoman, Ms. Lee, is recognized for additional questions.
I thank the chairman, and I want to just follow the line of questioning that I did not get a chance, and it might be redundant, but maybe asked in a different way. Whether it's the DEA or whether it's CBP and others, can I get, was it said, total amount in dollar value that's coming into the United States? And second, is most of it coming through the ports of entry, legal ports of entry?
Ma'am, I can begin to answer that question for you. So far in fiscal year '23, we're at just about 20,000 pounds of fentanyl seized by CBP along the border. 18,000 pounds of that with our Office of Field Operations at our ports of entry, and a little over 2,000 pounds with the U.S. Border Patrol.
Would you be able to capture what that might be in street value or any value?
It's a little bit tougher depending on the purity levels, powder versus pill format. With Operation Blue Lotus, as I had mentioned, alongside Four Horsemen, we've seized about 10,000 pounds on that had a street value of about 90 million.
DEA, do you have a different number of what you've been able to deal with? Thank you. Thank you.
Ma'am, we've seized this fiscal year approximately 57 million pills, which is about the same amount that we seized last year, and about 13,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. Again, the amounts vary. Pills can run anywhere from a few dollars if you're buying wholesale, all the way up, if you're just buying a single pill, $10 to $20 a pill. So it's hard to estimate.
And what have you found, how difficult is the, first of all, let's say what you've seen if you're working with collaborative agencies of online sales and how difficult it is to catch the online sales. And I give the example that is so tragic and so difficult. Loving parents, great athlete, middle schooler, high schooler, A student, or average student, loved by all. And one moment they've gone upstairs to go to bed, and the next moment, in the morning hours, they are not with us. Pink pills, the online sales, the sale to children.
Yes, ma'am. Social media and online sales are an increasing problem that we are keeping a very close eye on. The cartels are advertising and selling on social media. An Operation Last Mile, which I mentioned earlier, which was the U.S. distributors, it was over 1,400 cases, about 40% of them involved social media. So it is a certain issue that we are keeping an eye on. And as you mentioned, all these deaths are tragedies, of course. And I would point out that we had family members last summer come into DEA headquarters and tell us their stories, and they shared stories similar to what you just mentioned. And we started the Faces of Fentanyl, which is in our lobby. It started with a couple of hundred pictures. It is now up to 5,000 pictures. It covers 8 walls in the DEA headquarters lobby that every DEA employee has to walk past to get to work, that works at headquarters. The youngest person on that wall is 17 months old, and the oldest person is 70 years old, and a lot of them did buy the pills that ended up killing them over social media.
This, our approach to getting that, again, my legislation deals with enhanced penalties. That's on the backside of it for those utilization on social media to sell pills. So it's on the criminal end. It has treatment in, as Mr. Chester emphasized. But anyhow, how do we do an eagle eye on that? Those sales on that phone or that iPad, or when you're alone and you order them and they come in whatever package, or you send it to somebody else and you have pink pills and you take them.
Yes, ma'am. And that goes back to getting the word out. Public awareness is a big part of this, in addition to enforcement. The social media companies, frankly, have to do more. When I was growing up, if you wanted to buy drugs, you needed to know somebody that had them or where to go to get them. Right now, everybody with a smartphone knows a drug dealer, unfortunately, and that includes our kids. So getting the word out is going to help with that. And I mentioned earlier, we're in an unprecedented crisis, which requires unprecedented collaboration, including with social media companies, because with that collaboration, we will save lives.
Thank you very much. I think you're absolutely right. I am a rabid supporter of the First Amendment, but we have a crisis of, you've got 5,000 and growing. We have a crisis around children, and there is a level of responsibility that we must demand. And I thank you for these numbers. Thank you. I'll yield back.
Gentlewoman yields.